Okay, let's go. So thanks so much for joining our case study today. Today we have a comics case study with Matthias Brenner, the head of direct sales of Friendship. And Friendship is from the software industry and helps computer-aided engineering for engineering teams, and they're from Potsdam, Germany. So thanks so much for the time today. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks.
Great.
So, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we are collaborating now since more than 12 months together, right?
Right.
How did you guys do lead generation sales before engaging with comics? Could you give us a short overview of that?
Sure. We had different ways, I would say, and kind of a colorful mix of how we collected leads for our pipeline. I think one very important part for us were and still are inbound leads. So we're putting a lot of effort into marketing and sharing interesting stories and case studies and examples in different channels, as well as working with search engine optimization to be found for relevant keywords. And this is an important path for us, that where people come to us that are looking for solutions to solve specific problems. And of course, the inbound leads, or the amount of leads that come in through this inbound process, cannot be directly controlled. So we have to rely on having good material and having good things online that lead these leads to us. But it is limited to a certain amount. So to augment that, of course, we also did outbound lead prospecting, which was a combination of attending certain events with conferences, mainly, maybe some trade fairs, or we also worked together with a lot of partners in the CAE software space, where we visited user conferences from these partners we collaborate with. So that's one path, and then we also did some, let's say, I don't know if it can be called cold calling in some ways, where we did searching for leads on our own and try to find suitable customers that work on applications that are well applicable to us, and contact them, try to set up meetings.
Yeah. What were some of the frustrations, like with this manual way, that you encountered, and experiences also?
I think part of what I already said was, I think, something we were missing, which is the amount of leads to have a well-filled pipeline. So these inbound leads that are very important for us, and of course are high quality, don't come in a large enough number to have a very well-filled pipeline, which allows to reach certain goals also in terms of growth of the company. And the other activities that we're doing to generate leads in addition to that are, especially the outbound prospecting needs a lot of work. So we have to invest a lot of time in researching, sending out emails, trying to contact people, following up. And I think that was definitely a major pain point that we see. This is an important work that we have to do, but it needs a lot of manpower for, let's say, work that is not at a very high skill level.
I understand, yeah.
The amount of work and the size of the pipeline, these were, I think, the main pain points.
Yeah, I see. But you mentioned something interesting before. You said, like, controlling the lead inflow, right? I mean, to other sales, head of sales, what would you personally say? How important is it to have the control over your own sales funnel, over this lead flow that you mentioned before?
Well, I think it's important in a way that we, of course, as probably all other sales people out there, we want to achieve certain goals in terms of revenue, and in terms of if we look maybe a bit further than the sales itself, of growth of the company, things like that. And without a certain amount of control, it's a bit of a gamble if you're able to reach these goals or not. I mean, you can do some activities and you can be lucky, and then maybe you are able to reach these goals, and in other ways not. But maybe it's not because you didn't put in the effort, but because you were just unlucky. So if you have a more, let's say, controlled way of doing that, I think that, or would be the ideal, or the goal that I would hope to reach, is that we set a certain goal, and then we can plan exactly which activities we need to do and what amount of activity we need to do to reach that specific goal.
Yeah.
And then it's not pure, let's say, luck or not.
Yeah, that's the ideal case. Of course. Let's move a little bit over like in the first contact with comics. If you can remember, because it's a while back, what sparked your interest in the beginning also to get in contact with us and have like a first intro to comics, what we are doing?
Yeah. So first of all, we were contacted by email, or my CEO was contacted by email in the same way as we do now using comics, and he forwarded the email to me, and actually, due to these let's say pain points I mentioned before, for a while I was already thinking of possible solutions that could help us with the lead generation process, and what can we do to make it a bit more systematic, to create some new avenues of lead generation for our business. And when he forwarded the email to me, this sounded like one possibility, so to say. That's why I thought it definitely would make sense to have a talk with you guys, and so we did had a web meeting, and also I have I think this was something that was mentioned in our first meeting, and I have read the book Predictable Revenue before, which I thought was a very interesting approach to sales, and so this was mentioned in the meeting and was in line with your strategy, and that's what sparked my interest, so to say, step further.
Yeah, great. What are some of the key insights of the predictable revenue that you would say like that's 100% applicable to your case as a software company?
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's pretty much what I mentioned before. Is this a very systematic approach to be able to generate or to work and create a pipeline that is really related to the sales goal that you want to reach, and allows to do a certain planning also internally of the tasks and resources, and where to invest time and things like that. Which I think it's not applicable to us because we were already doing it like that, but because it was very much in line with, let's say, the kind of ideas I have in mind and hopes I have in mind of structuring our sales activities.
Yeah, perfect. What was the reason why you decided for comics?
I think I liked the system and the way that you're able to use our input that we can provide to generate a list of leads that are suitable to what we're trying to accomplish. So I think initially in these first discussions we had with you, we put together a bunch of material to describe our targets and so on, and I think I had a feeling that there is a good understanding of what we need and what we're looking for, and and also simply I think we did some test sampling initially with the input that we provided and the kind of let's say amount of leads that you're able to generate based on this input and these things and of course after that the automation systems that you have set up to work with these leads, then that saves a lot of time by sending out emails in an automated way and especially also following up. That's something I also realized in these past months working with this is that many of these leads that we contact, they tend to respond later after a couple of emails. And if I just think of the effort of contacting this amount of leads and doing a constant follow-up to finally get some kind of response from them, if I have to think about how much time I would have to invest for that, I really like this automation approach that takes care of these things and then really brings me in the process only at the point where the interaction with a non-automated system is needed and where I can then bring in my experience and expertise.
Perfect. Well, if you would compare it, like how many resources would you have needed to achieve similar results?
That's a good question, but I would say probably at least one full-time person working on these things to keep this constant level of activity. And not only the activity in terms of contacting people, following up, but also the research into the leads and finding, putting together the lists. Also maybe since we're talking about lists, that's also an important point since we know there is a lot of talks now with data protection guidelines, European data protection and things like that. And that was also an important point about your approach that you're working with, let's say, publicly available data, that we're not buying an obscure list of leads that comes from somewhere, but really it works in a well set legal framework.
Yeah, perfect. Let's move a little bit to the results. Like, how would you describe the results with comics? Like, what has changed from like before to afterwards?
I think what has changed is definitely the amount of conversations that we're having with companies that we wouldn't have been in contact otherwise, and we have sort of a niche application that we're distributing, at least to a certain extent, and it's not that every lead is really a suitable candidate for our solution, but really we have to do a lot of turnover in amount of leads to find really companies that are suitable for it. And so based on that, the number of contacts we get and the number of communication with interested people, to get to that level, we manually, I think we would almost not have been able to create that much traffic, boil it down to these amounts of contacts.
Do you have the number per week, like number of dialogues per week or per month that you have with comics?
I don't have an exact number, and we have been working. This is also something that has been a good progress in the cooperation, is to really refine the targeting of our leads. So initially it was let's say not exactly at the expected level, but in the communication with you, we we really were able to narrow it down and target our contact much better. And now we have been running it in this way for a couple of months, and we probably, I would say, we get something like about five communications per week with companies where I would confirm they are suitable targets and where there is an interest from their side.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, your target audience, as we have understood it, is also like quite niche in a way, like how you basically can get in contact with them, the solution that you provide for them, right?
Right.
Is can I share some of the numbers on the reply rates in the call?
Sure.
I mean, we have recently received reply rates from up to almost 40% with the new adjustment on the targeting. So like I think we nailed very much the niche of like engineering teams that working with or have the need for computer-aided software. And yeah, exactly. What would you give a recommendation for other sales teams out there? Like, why would someone get a pipeline assessment with Comics or a collaboration with Comics, to your opinion? What would you give other sales experts, marketing experts out there for advices?
I mean, I would certainly give a recommendation because, as I said, I think it's a great way to save resources in the sales process and in the sales teams within a company to make use of these automation systems and this external support in order to achieve this level of sales activity.
Perfect. Is there anything else that you would like to share, like on experiences or like on results?
I think not, but as I mentioned before, what I would definitely like to share, and I did share it a lot, is what I also appreciate a lot is this collaboration on really refining the targeting and revisiting everything and not kind of getting something where, okay, this is what you can work with and go ahead, and if it doesn't work, okay, I don't know, it doesn't. It's a bit your problem, but really this collaboration of trying to optimize things together to get to the best possible result.
Yeah, perfect. And it's only possible with on the other side too, if the client is willing to do that. Perfect, Matthias. But then thanks so much for your time.